Welcome to another interesting literature in English class. My name is Precious, and our theme for today is General Introduction to Prose, and our topic is theme. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to define theme, list and discuss the types of theme, and finally, discuss the functions of theme. It is important to know that there are three genres of literature. We have poetry, we have drama, and we have prose. But in course of this study, our focus will be prose. Now, what is prose? Prose is a form of expression. It is either written or spoken, and it does not have any poetic structure. By poetic structure, I mean it is not written like a poem. It is written like an everyday speech. It is written in chapters and in paragraphs. And by this, the author reveals his actions, thoughts, and ideas in a sentence. One of the elements of prose is the main idea or central idea in a story. Every story has a main idea or a supporting idea. These ideas don't only apply to the story itself, it also applies to life generally. The author uses the story as a medium to convey life experiences and situations to the audience or the reader. So through this, the audience or readers are able to relate these experiences to their own life experiences. Now let's see what theme actually is. In literature, theme is the main idea or central idea that a story points to. It's the underlying message of a particular play or story. Now the author points us to the moral lesson, the subject matter of a particular story. It is important to note that theme differ from one author to another and also differs from one story to another. Theme can be what a reader perceives the story to be about or what the story is actually about. Theme explores the cultural and historical norms in a society. It is universal in nature because it cuts across all human experiences. Now, these themes can be expressed in different ways by authors. Theme can be expressed through the feelings of the main character about the subject of a story. Themes can also be presented through the actions and events that take place in a story. An author can express theme through the feelings of a particular character or the main character. The main character tells us what a particular story is about through his feelings. Also, the actions and the events that take place in a story can also tell us the theme of a particular story. Now, theme can also be expressed through the thoughts and conversations of different characters. Different characters can come up in a story explaining some things in details. From there, we are able to infer or suggest the theme of a particular play. Also, theme can be expressed through the experiences of the main character in the story. The author explores theme in a story through the experiences of a particular character. So all these and more can show us or tell us the theme or themes in a story. Now let's look at some examples of theme. An author can explore themes like love, death, war, conflict, hatred, bitterness in his story. Now let's look at some examples of themes. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie in her novel Half of a Yellow Sun explored the theme of war. Chimamanda in her novel explored the theme of war. She described the Biafran War as relating to the time of the war. She spoke about how the war affected people around and the society at large, destroying properties and lives. Now let's look at another example of theme. Another example is Buchi Emecheta's Second Class Citizen, which explored the theme of class and gender. Emecheta in her novel explored the discrimination amongst women in the time this novel was written. They were discriminated and there was a level of racism in her novel. The last example we have here is Emily Brooks' Wuthering Heights. In this novel, Emily explores the theme of love. Here the author describes love as being corrupt and destructive. Now let's look at types of theme. Before we consider the types of theme, a theme can either be implied or stated. When I say implied, what do I mean? Implied meaning that the theme or the main idea of a particular story is not directly or clearly stated by the author. That means this theme is inferred or suggested by the author, or even suggested by the readers from what they see or what they hear by the audience. And when I say a theme is stated, this means that the theme or the main idea or central idea of a story is clearly stated by the author. The author tells us clearly what the theme of the story is. Now the types of theme. We have two types of theme, namely major theme and minor theme. Now let's look at these two types of theme in detail. Now, major theme. A major theme is the main idea or central idea of a story. It's the main message that the author wants to pass on to the readers or to the audience. Now, this idea can either be stated or implied, depending on what the author seeks to achieve. Now, it's important to note that we can have more than one main idea in a story, which is the major theme. Now, let's look at the minor theme. The minor theme is also known as the supporting idea. This is an idea that is briefly discussed by an author. The idea is not discussed at length like the main theme. It's also important to note that this theme can be either implied or stated by the author. Now, the functions of theme. Firstly, theme binds or unifies the elements of prose together. By elements of prose, I mean the setting, the plot, and the characters. All these come together to give us a good story. Secondly, the theme gives the author a sense of direction. By sense of direction, I mean the author is able to structure his story. This involves character development, challenges the characters face, conflict resolution, and so on. Now, let's see the third function of a theme. The theme of a play gives the reader a better understanding of the conflicts, experiences, discoveries, and emotions of the main character or characters. The theme helps the readers comprehend the story better. And lastly, the author uses the theme to give insights and portray his own view of the world in general to the readers. By this, I mean the author uses theme to give insights or portray the world at large, or to show human experiences to the readers or audience. Now we have come to the end of today's lesson, but before we go, let's take a quick summary of what we have learned so far. We have learned that theme is the central idea which the story points to. It is the main idea behind a story or the moral lesson in a story. We also learned that theme can be expressed through the feelings of the main character, the actions and the events that take place, the thoughts and the conversations of different characters, and the experiences of the main character in a story. Finally, we've learned that there are two types of theme, the major and the minor theme. Before we go, let's test ourselves on the following questions. Question 1. The underlying message that is central to a story is known as dash. A. Theme. B. Style. C. Character. And the correct answer is theme. Question 2. The main idea that reoccurs in a piece of writing or story is called dash. A. Minor theme. B. Major theme. C. Implied theme. The correct answer is B. Major theme. Now we've come to the end of today's class. I believe by now you know what theme is, the types of theme, and the functions of theme. See you in our next class. Bye!